Is it true, human? An alien princess challenges a human claim. HFY Reddit Sci-Fi HFY. The Grand Assembly Hall of the Aurelian Concord was designed to make visitors feel small. Massive crystal pillars rose like frozen lightning toward a ceiling so high it disappeared into glowing mist. Soft light flowed through the walls, changing color with the emotions of those inside. Today, the light shimmered with confusion, doubt, and curiosity. At the center of the hall stood a single figure on a circular platform. He was human. Commander Elias Wren stood straight, his hands relaxed at his sides. His dark uniform was simple, with no medals meant to impress, no weapons meant to threaten. He looked small compared to the towering shapes and floating forms around him, yet he did not look afraid. Around him sat hundreds of alien delegates. Some had scales that reflected the light like gems. Others had skin like bark or eyes that glowed from within. A few did not have solid bodies at all, instead hovering inside faint energy fields. All of them were focused on the human. Humans were new to the galaxy, too new. They had appeared from a quiet, ignored corner of space only a few decades ago. At first, they were treated politely but without respect. Young species rarely survived long among the stars. Most burned bright and faded fast. Then the reports began. Human ships surviving battles they should have lost. Human colonies holding out against threats that had destroyed older civilizations. And now, the most unbelievable claim of all. Princess Sira of the Velari slowly rose from her seat. Her movement alone brought silence to the hall. The Velari were one of the founding species of the Concord, ancient and respected. Sira herself carried the authority of royal blood, though her face still held the sharp curiosity of youth. She was tall and slender, her silver-blue skin smooth like polished metal. Her eyes shimmered softly as she studied the human below. "Is it true, human?" she asked. Her voice was calm, but it echoed clearly across the vast hall, translated perfectly into every language. Elias lifted his head slightly. He met her gaze without hesitation. "Which claim, princess?" he asked. A ripple of reaction passed through the delegates. Some found his tone respectful. Others thought it too familiar. "The claim," Sira said, "that your species has defeated the Null Swarm. Alone." The name sent a chill through the chamber. The Null Swarm was not a myth. It was a force of living machines that consumed everything in its path. Worlds, moons, even stars were stripped for raw material. Entire civilizations had vanished trying to stop it. Those who survived still carried the memory like a wound. Elias did not answer right away. He seemed to choose his words carefully. "Yes," he said at last. "That claim is true." The hall exploded into sound, sharp clicks of anger, bursts of static laughter, low hums of disbelief. Several delegates stood at once, their bodies glowing or expanding with agitation. Princess Sira raised one hand and the noise slowly faded. "You expect us to believe this," she said, her tone firm, "when even the combined fleets of the Conquered could only drive the swarm back, never destroy it." Elias nodded once. "I understand your doubt." "Then you will also understand," she replied, "why many here believe this is either a misunderstanding or a lie." Elias did not react with anger. He had expected this. "We did not destroy the swarm," he said. "Not completely." That admission caused another wave of murmurs. "But," he continued, "we stopped it from advancing into our space, permanently." Princess Sira stepped closer to the edge of her platform. "Explain how a species that only recently mastered faster-than-light travel accomplished what others could not in centuries." Elias took a slow breath. "When the swarm first entered human territory," he said, "we did what everyone else did. We fought it directly. We lost ships. We lost stations. We lost millions of lives." The hall grew quiet. "We learned quickly that strength alone was useless," he went on. "Every weapon we used, the swarm adapted to. Every formation we tried, it countered." Several older delegates nodded. They remembered. So you retreated? Sira asked. No, Elias said. We endured. That word caught the princess's attention. Humans, Elias continued, have a long history of surviving things we should not, plagues, wars, a hostile home world. We evolved on a planet that tried to kill us in 1,000 small ways every day. A few delegates exchanged uneasy glances. When the swarm attacked, he said, we did not look for a final victory, we looked for time. Time for what? Sira asked. To learn, Elias replied. He tapped a small control on his wrist. Above the platform, a hologram appeared. It showed streams of data, patterns shifting and reforming. This, he said, is how the swarm thinks, not as individuals, not even as a hive, but as a set of rules. Princess Sira leaned forward slightly. It reacts, Elias said. It does not imagine, it does not wonder. It does not doubt. Some of the delegates stiffened. Those traits were common among advanced species. We humans, Elias said quietly, do all of those things. The hologram shifted, showing human ships behaving strangely. Some advanced and retreated without firing. Others sacrificed themselves to expose data. Entire fleets moved in ways that made no tactical sense. We fed the swarm bad information, Elias explained. We acted irrationally, inconsistently, sometimes even foolishly. You lost ships on purpose, someone demanded. Yes, Elias said, because humans value learning more than comfort. Princess Sira's eyes narrowed. You are saying you confused a machine intelligence by being unpredictable. Yes, Elias said, and by being patient. The hologram changed again. It showed the swarm hesitating, its movements slowing. We created traps that were not meant to kill, Elias said, only to watch, to record, to understand how it responded to stress, to loss, to uncertainty. Machines do not feel uncertainty, Sira said. No, Elias agreed. But they can be forced into inefficiency. The hall was silent now. When the swarm realized, Elias said, that attacking us caused disproportionate losses, unpredictable damage, and no clear gain, it made a choice. What choice? The princess asked. It marked our territory as hostile, Elias said, not worth the cost. A soft wave of shock moved through the delegates. You taught a cosmic predator to avoid you, Sira said slowly. Elias nodded. We didn't defeat it with power, we defeated it with refusal. Refusal, she repeated. We refused to die quietly, he said. We refused to fight the way it expected. We refused to give it an easy answer. Princess Sira studied him for a long moment. And if the swarm returns, she asked. Elia's expression hardened slightly. Then we will learn again, he said, and adapt faster. The light in the hall shifted, reflecting a new emotion, not disbelief, respect mixed with fear. Princess Sira finally sat back down. Humanity, she said, has survived by turning weakness into a weapon. Yes, Elias replied. That is what we do. As the assembly resumed its quiet murmurs, one thought spread through the minds of the ancient species present. If this was what humans could do while simply trying to survive, what might they become when they decided to lead? The silence that followed Elias' explanation did not last long. Whispers spread through the grand assembly hall, faster and louder than before. Delegates leaned toward one another, exchanging rapid thoughts through speech, light pulses, or shared neural links. Some faces showed doubt, others showed fear. A few showed something far rarer, interest. Princess Sira remained seated, but her attention never left the human on the central platform. She had expected arrogance, or desperation, or carefully shaped lies. What she had not expected was calm honesty. Commander Elias Wren, she said at last, her voice cutting cleanly through the noise. Words alone are not enough. The murmurs quieted again. You claim that humanity altered the behavior of the null swarm, she continued. Such a claim, if proven, would affect every member of this concord. Elias nodded. I understand. Then proof is required, Sira said. Not stories, not interpretations, evidence. Several delegates voiced approval. Others shifted uncomfortably. Elias did not hesitate. We anticipated this request. He raised his wrist again, but this time the hologram that appeared was far more detailed. It expanded outward, filling much of the hall. Stars, systems, and movement lines appeared in glowing light. This is a record from our long-range observation network, Elias said. It covers the last 15 standard cycles. Princess Sira stood once more, stepping closer to the projection. Her eyes followed the shifting patterns. This red zone, Elias explained, highlighting a vast region of space, was once a primary swarm route. It consumed 6 inhabited systems before reaching human borders. The projection shifted. The red advance slowed near a cluster of stars marked in blue. That is human space, Sira said. Yes, Elias replied. Watch carefully. The hologram replayed the encounter. The swarm surged forward, its usual aggressive spread clear and confident. Then human signals appeared, not in a defensive wall but scattered, disorganized. Several delegates frowned. This is chaos, one muttered. Exactly, Elias said. Human ships appeared and vanished. Some advanced directly into danger, others retreated suddenly. There was no clear pattern. Then the swarm reacted. Its movements became cautious. Sections paused. Routes recalculated. Notice the delay, Elias said. The swarm is thinking. Princess Sira's eyes widened slightly. It has never hesitated like that before. Not against predictable opponents, Elias said. The projection sped forward, time compressed. The swarm attempted limited attacks, probing rather than consuming. Each time the human response changed, sometimes aggressive, sometimes passive, sometimes illogical. The swarm pulled back. It did not retreat fully, but it stopped advancing. The hall was completely silent. This behavior, Elias said, has continued for 15 cycles. The swarm has bypassed human space entirely. Princess Sira straightened slowly. This data is authentic. It has been verified by 3 independent Concord observation arrays, Elias said, including one operated by your own people. Her gaze snapped toward the Velari delegation. One of her advisors lowered their head in confirmation. A ripple of unease spread through the chamber. This changes many things, Sira said softly. It should, Elias replied. One of the elder delegates rose, a massive being whose body resembled layered stone. If humans possess this method, the being said, why was it not shared immediately? Elias met the question calmly. Because it is not a weapon that can simply be handed over. Explain, Sira said. Elias turned slightly, addressing the wider hall. What we did was not a single strategy, it was a mindset. Some delegates bristled. The swarm learns from consistency, Elias said, so we removed it. That requires a willingness to accept loss, confusion, and failure without panic. You sacrificed your own people, another voice accused. Elias did not deny it. We accepted risk, as we always have. Princess Sira watched him carefully. You speak as if this comes naturally to your species. Elias allowed himself a small, tired smile. Princess, humans evolved on a world where certainty was rare. Weather changed without warning. Predators adapted. Resources ran out. Our history is built on making bad situations survivable. The princess considered this. You do not seek control, she said. You seek flexibility. Yes, Elias said. Control breaks, flexibility bends. The elder delegate rumbled thoughtfully. If the swarm can be discouraged, not destroyed, then the balance of power shifts. That balance, Elias said, was already unstable. Princess Sira turned back to him. You understand that many will now see humanity as a threat. I do, Elias said. That is why I am here. Her eyes narrowed. Go on. Humans do not want dominance, Elias said. We want cooperation. The swarm is still out there. Avoiding us does not mean it is gone. And if it returns stronger, Sira asked. Then we face it together, Elias said. With shared knowledge, not fear. The hall erupted again, but this time the sounds were different. Not mockery, not dismissal, debate. Princess Sira raised her hand once more. There is another concern. Elias inclined his head. I expected that. You are asking the conquered to trust a young species with influence over a galactic-level threat, she said. Trust must be earned. Elias nodded. Then allow us to earn it. How? She asked. By demonstrating our methods openly, Elias said. By training joint teams. By letting others observe our failures as well as our successes. A risky offer. Princess Sira studied him for a long time. She saw exhaustion behind his calm, not weakness but experience. You are confident, she said. No, Elias replied honestly. We are careful. That answer surprised her. She turned to the assembly. The Velari propose a trial. Every eye returned to her. A controlled simulation, she said. Using archived swarm behavior models, humanity will demonstrate its methods under conquered observation. The hall buzzed. If they succeed, she continued, we will reconsider humanity's role within this alliance. And if they fail, someone asked. Princess Sira looked back at Elias. Then, she said, we will know the truth. Elias met her gaze and nodded. That is fair. As the session drew to a close, delegates began to rise and depart, their thoughts heavy. Old assumptions were breaking. Ancient hierarchies were shifting. Princess Sira remained where she was as Elias prepared to leave the platform. Commander, she said quietly. He turned. You do not act like someone seeking power, she said. Why? Elias thought for a moment before answering. Because power, he said, is what you reach for when you're afraid. Humans learned long ago that fear makes you rigid. And rigidity breaks, she said. Yes, Elias replied. She watched him walk away, a lone human among giants, carrying the weight of an entire species with steady steps. For the first time, Princess Sira did not wonder if humanity belonged among the stars. She wondered how long it had been underestimated. And somewhere, far beyond the conquered's borders, the null swarm adjusted its calculations, carefully avoiding a region of space it had learned was no longer safe. The simulation chamber was unlike the Grand Assembly Hall. Where the hall was built to inspire awe, the chamber was built for truth. Smooth, dark walls absorbed sound. Observation platforms circled the space like silent watchers. At the center floated a massive three-dimensional projection, already forming stars, roots, and data streams. Delegates from dozens of species filled the platforms. Some watched with open interest. Others watched with folded limbs, prepared to criticize. Princess Sira stood at the highest platform, her expression calm but focused. Commander Elias Wren stood beside a small human team at the control interface. They were not impressive to look at. No grand uniforms, no ceremonial displays. Just people, some young, some clearly tired, all focused. The simulation uses archived swarm data, announced a neutral conquered voice. Behavior patterns verified and sealed. No external influence permitted. Princess Sira nodded. Begin. The projection shifted. The null swarm appeared as a flowing mass of light and motion, spreading through a simulated star system. Its movements were precise, efficient, terrifyingly smooth. A murmur passed through the observers. Elias did not speak. He raised a hand slightly and his team began. Human-controlled units appeared in the simulation. Not fleets, not formations, just scattered signals entering from different angles, different speeds. This looks disorganized, one delegate said quietly. That is because it is, another replied. The swarm reacted instantly. Parts of it turned, adjusted, accelerated. It moved to intercept. Human units, the conquered voice announced, are entering projected engagement range. Elias remained calm. Now, he said softly, several human units changed behavior at once. One accelerated toward the swarm, then abruptly cut all power. Another split into multiple decoys. A third transmitted a burst of meaningless data and retreated. Confusion rippled through the swarm's projected structure. its response slowed by fractions of a second. Princess Sira leaned forward. "The swarm is reallocating resources," one of her advisors said, "but inefficiently." "That delay," Elia said, not looking away, "is the opening." Human units did not attack. They observed. They recorded. They changed patterns again. The swarm attempted a calculated response, but the variables kept shifting. No single tactic held long enough to be countered. Minutes passed. Then something unexpected happened. The swarm stopped advancing. It did not retreat, but it no longer pressed forward. A wave of surprise moved through the chamber. "It's stalling," a delegate whispered. Elias nodded slightly. "It's calculating cost." Princess Sira's voice was quiet but sharp. "This is a simulation. The swarm cannot feel fear." "No," Elias agreed, "but it can recognize loss." The projection zoomed in. Swarm elements began rerouting around the human-controlled region. "It's avoiding the area," an observer said, disbelief clear in their tone. "This matches the data," Elias said. "Every time." The simulation continued, time accelerating. The swarm expanded elsewhere but never returned to the human zone. "Simulation complete," the conquered voice announced. Silence followed, not the silence of doubt, the silence of realization. Princess Sira straightened slowly. "End recording." The projection faded, leaving only the observers and the humans standing quietly below. "That was controlled," Sira said. "Clean, verified." She turned to the assembly. "The results are clear." The chamber erupted, but not into chaos. Questions flew, arguments formed. Old beliefs cracked. One delegate rose, its form shimmering. "If humans can influence the swarm's behavior, they could redirect it." "That concern is valid," Princess Sira said. Elias stepped forward. "Which is why we never would." Several delegates turned toward him sharply. "Why should we believe that?" another demanded. "Because we live too close to it," Elias said simply. "You fear what it could do to your borders. We fear what it could do to our homes." Princess Sira studied him. "You are asking for trust without leverage." "No," Elias said. "We are offering transparency instead of leverage." A risky position, an honest one. Another delegate spoke, older than most, voice slow and thoughtful. "Humans did not win by strength. They won by accepting uncertainty." "Yes," Elias said, "certainty is brittle." Princess Sira let the debate continue for a time. She listened more than she spoke. Patterns emerged: fear of human influence, fear of human unpredictability, fear of being left behind. At last she raised her hand. "The Velari position is this," she said. "Humanity has demonstrated a capability that affects the survival of this galaxy." She turned toward Elias. "Such capability cannot remain isolated," she continued, "but neither can it be controlled through force." Elias inclined his head. "Agreed." "We propose," Sira said, "a joint initiative, human advisors embedded within conquered research teams, full observation, shared responsibility." A pause. "And in return," she said, "human space will be formally recognized and protected under conquered charter." A sharp intake of breath spread through the hall. This was more than validation, it was acceptance. Elias looked briefly at his team. They exchanged quiet nods. "Humanity accepts," he said. The decision did not end the tension. It reshaped it. As the chamber began to empty, some delegates left deep in thought. Others avoided looking at the humans at all. Princess Sira waited until only a few remained. "Commander," she said. Elias turned to her. "You understand," she said, "that some will never fully trust your species." "Yes," Elias said, "we wouldn't either." That earned a small smile from her. "There is something else," she said more softly. "The swarm avoided you, but avoidance is not surrender." "No," Elias said. "It's learning." "And so are we," she replied. Far beyond the conquered, the real null swarm drifted through dark space, its calculations endlessly adjusting. Routes were marked, probabilities updated. One region remained highlighted, not as prey, as risk. And on a small, distant world, humans continued doing what they had always done best: preparing. learning, and refusing to disappear, the decision of the conquered did not bring instant peace. If anything, it made the galaxy more restless. In the cycles that followed the simulation, messages crossed star systems at record speed. Ancient species argued in quiet councils. Younger civilizations watched humanity with a mix of hope and fear. For the first time in a very long time, the future felt uncertain to everyone. Commander Elias Wren returned to human space carrying more than authority. He carried expectation. On Earth, the skies above the Pacific reflected the soft glow of orbital stations. Cities below moved with their usual rhythm. People worked, argued, laughed, and worried about small personal things. Most of them had no idea that the fate of the galaxy had shifted slightly in their favor. Elias stood in a quiet observation room, looking down at the planet. He was not alone. Dr. Mara Chen stood beside him, arms crossed, eyes focused on the curve of the Earth. She was one of the minds behind humanity's swarm strategy, though she rarely sought recognition. "They accepted us faster than I expected," she said. "They didn't accept us," Elias replied. "They accepted what we can do." "That's worse," Mara said softly. Elias did not disagree. Across human space, joint conquered teams began arriving. Scientists, observers, strategists. They came to learn how humans thought, not just how they fought. Many arrived with careful politeness. Some arrived with open suspicion. Humans welcomed them all, not with speeches or displays of power, but with openness, shared data, shared failures, long discussions that lasted through artificial nights. Princess Sira arrived several cycles later. Her ship entered orbit without ceremony. When she stepped onto Earth's soil for the first time, she paused, feeling the air, the gravity, the quiet strength of the world beneath her feet. "So this is where you come from," she said. "Yes," Elias replied. "It's not gentle." "I can feel that," she said. "Your world pushes back." "It always has," Elias said. She walked with him through a research complex built along a coastline. Waves rolled in, steady and endless. Human and alien scientists worked side by side, studying projections of the null swarm, arguing over theories, testing assumptions. "You let others see your uncertainty," Sira said. "That is unusual." "We don't hide it," Elias replied. "We work through it." She watched a human engineer laugh after a failed test, immediately adjusting the design. "Your people are not ashamed of mistakes." "We learned long ago that shame wastes time," Elias said. For a moment, Sira said nothing. Then her posture stiffened slightly. "There is something you have not shared." Elias looked at her. "We were wondering how long it would take you to notice." "The swarm is avoiding you," she said, "but avoidance means it is still watching." "Yes," Elias said, "and learning." "Then why are you so calm?" she asked. Elias gestured toward the window, toward the busy rooms beyond. "Because we are not trying to win a final battle." Sira turned to him. "You are planning for something else." "We are planning to outgrow the problem," Elias said. She studied him carefully. "Explain." "The swarm is optimized for conquest," Elias said. "Consumption, expansion. It reacts to threats." "But not to irrelevance," she said slowly. "Yes," Elias replied. "If the cost of attacking us keeps rising and the reward keeps shrinking, it will eventually focus elsewhere." "And if it adapts?" she asked. "Then we adapt faster," Elias said. "That's the part no one can copy easily." Princess Sira exhaled softly. "Your strength is not your technology." "No," Elias agreed. "It's our refusal to accept limits as permanent." Far from Earth, deep in interstellar darkness, the null swarm shifted again. Its calculations showed an anomaly, a region of space where predictions failed more often than succeeded, where loss did not lead to submission, where patterns broke instead of repeating. It did not feel fear, but it adjusted. A probe detached from the greater mass, slipping quietly toward human space, smaller, more subtle, designed to observe without engaging. Human sensors detected it almost immediately. Alarms did not sound. Weapons did not power up. Instead, data flowed. Elias stood with Princess Sira and a mixed team of observers as the probe's behavior was analyzed in real time. "It's watching," one conquered analyst said. "Yes," Mara replied, "and we're letting it." "You are allowing a swarm unit into your space," the analyst said, uneasy. "We're giving it exactly what it expects," Elias said. "Nothing dramatic." The probe drifted, scanned, and recorded. It observed human ships changing routes without reason. Communications filled with noise and half-patterns. Infrastructure that looked important but wasn't. Simplicity layered over complexity. After several hours, the probe retreated. "It's leaving," Sira said. Elias nodded. "It found nothing useful." "And if it sends more?" she asked. "Then we keep being ourselves," Elias said. She looked at him, truly looked at him, and finally understood. Humanity was not fighting the swarm. Humanity was exhausting it. News of the probe encounter spread quickly through the conquered. Panic did not follow. Curiosity did. Confidence. For the first time, the swarm was no longer the center of every strategic discussion. Life moved forward. Princess Sira prepared to leave Earth several days later. As her ship stood ready, she met Elias one last time. "You have changed how the galaxy thinks," she said. "Not through conquest, but through example." "We didn't mean to," Elias said. "We just didn't want to disappear." She inclined her head. "That instinct may save us all." As her ship lifted into the sky, Elias watched until it vanished into the stars. He felt no triumph, only responsibility. Far away, the null swarm continued its endless calculations. New routes formed, old ones faded. One truth became increasingly clear within its logic. Human space was inefficient, unpredictable, costly, and not worth the effort. For the conquered, for humanity, and for countless worlds that would never know how close they had come to silence, that was enough. Humanity had not conquered the galaxy. It had simply proven one thing beyond doubt. When faced with extinction, humans did not break. They learned, they adapted, and they stayed.